Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the opening round of the 1957 season, the Argentine Grand Prix. But before we begin, I would, as always, like to thank everyone who took part in the straw poll. It means a lot to me. Not only does it allow you guys to have a say in what teams Andy drives for in a given season, it also tells me how many of my viewers are really interested in this series. That's not to say that I don't appreciate every view, comment and subscription I get. Those also help a lot as well, obviously. But as one might expect, some people are more interested than others. Anyway, let's have a look at the poll results. There were 62 people who cast their vote, and it breaks down as follows. Cooper Bristol received 5 votes, Van Wall received 10 votes, Cooper climaxed 12 votes, Ferrari 16 votes, but the winning team is Maserati with 19 votes. So it was really close between the two Italian manufacturers. But I'm looking forward to driving the legendary 250F. Once again, thank you to everyone who took part in the straw poll and thank you to everyone else who is following this channel. You guys are amazing. Now on to a brief look at the 1957 season. It was held between the 13th of January and 27th of October. It consisted of a total of 17 races, 8 were part of the World Championship for drivers, and the remaining 9 were non-championship events. Juan Manuel Fangio had yet another astonishing season and won the driver's title for a 4th time in a row and his 5th overall, making him the most successful Formula 1 driver in the world, a record he would hold until nearly 50 years later. Anyway, he won 4 of the 8 races and scored a total of 40 points, or 46 if we count the dropped points. Stirling Moss finished the season in 2nd, he won 3 of the remaining 4 races and scored a total of 25 points. Whilst Musso ended the season in 3rd, he hasn't won a single race but managed to grab 2 second place finishes. Although the 1957 would prove to be another amazing season for Fangio, it would also claim the lives of Eugenio Castellotti and Alfonso de Portago. They both died before the Monaco Grand Prix. Castellotti died whilst testing for Ferrari at Mugello. Alfonso de Portago died 2 months later whilst taking part in the Mille Miglia race. He was also driving a Ferrari. With all that said, let's have a quick look at the Argentine Grand Prix. It was held on the 13th of January, it had 14 entries, all of who took part in the race. 4 however didn't make it past the finish line. The race consisted of 100 laps completed in 3 hours and 56 seconds. Stirling Moss started from pole with Fangio in 2nd, Berra 3rd, Castellotti 4th and Collins started from 5th. Fangio managed to snatch victory from Berra, who finished the race 2nd, 18.3 seconds later. Menditegui crossed the line in 3rd, he was 1 lap down. Schell finished the race in 4th, he was 2 laps down. And De Portago gave his car to Gonzalez, who finished 5th and was also 2 laps behind. Moss posted the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 44.7 second lap. We're back in Argentina, which means it's the start of a new season, and a lap here starts with a long run down into turn 1, a long right-hander. Watch your speed as you approach the middle of the corner as it's a bit tighter. Next we have turn 2, a fast right-hander. Careful on the exit as there is a small hill there, and immediately after that comes turn 3, a tight right-hand hairpin. Immediately after this comes a tight chicane, followed by 2 left-handers. Careful not to get on the power too early as you exit the 2nd left-hander. The car tends to oversteer through here. Next is a medium speed left-right chicane. We then come into another right-hand hairpin. Easy through here as there is a bump right on the apex. Finally we come through the last corner, a high-speed left-hander that brings us back around onto the main straight, and that is a lap around the Buenos Aires circuit. And here we are in qualifying for the Argentine Grand Prix, coming around to post our first time lap, a 2 minute 08.04, not a very good lap, but thankfully we managed to improve a little bit, not too much, a 141.350, but eventually I found a little bit more speed, 139.058, and finally a 137.235, so managed to slowly improve the time, but we are still about 5 seconds off pole time. So anyway, and here is I had to restart the race a couple of times. This is the first attempt. I broke into the first corner there. This is on lap 1 obviously, and for some reason I couldn't get back onto the main street. So I broke into the corner. My the tires locked, and then well, I slid out. And here I was trying to avoid crashing into a car in front of me, but then someone decided to crash into me despite the fact that there was a yellow flag. And a little bit later on I crashed into something. I have no idea into what. There's something there that's keeping me from moving, so I finally reversed, and there's a Ferrari who just hit me again. So that was the second attempt to start this race. It was quite frustrating, but here my suspension was really broken at that point, and there was no reason to continue racing anymore. So anyway, here is a look at the championship at the previous Argentine Grand Prix winner, sorry. As we now have a look at the grid, and we have Fangio on pole, Hawthorne in second, Bob Gerard in third, Jack Brabham fourth, fifth is Maston Gregory, sixth Jambera, Andy Higgs is seventh, Harry Schell is eighth, ninth is Joe Bonnier, Trintignant is 10th, 11th is Wolfgang von Trips, 12th Tony Brooks, Carlos Menditegoy is 13th, Lewis Evans is 14th, Jose Freilan Gonzalez 15th, Moss 16th, 17th Alfonso de Portago, Luigi Musso 18th, Roy Salvadori 19th, and in 20th we have Peter Collins. So that's the grid lineup for the race. Finally we get to start this race. If I would have had to restart it again, I think I would just given up and whatever. So hopefully the race will go well. We've managed to win a single Argentine Grand Prix in the past, and that's a pretty slow start. I couldn't keep my wheels from spinning, so I lost a couple of positions there. We're down in 12th already as we come into turn 1, and here I slow down because I know the AI is stupid coming through this corner. And well, there's the proof. As I try to navigate around the AI, we move up into 10th, thankfully, as we come out of turn 1 here, and there are even more cars at the side of the track, and we move up into 8th. And here is a look at the start there, and you saw the tire tracks there. I had tire wheel spin for a very long time. I was trying to control it, but didn't quite work out for me, so I lost a bunch of positions because of that. Not the ideal situation, but okay. One thing to notice though is that the Maserati is quite a handful. It's very sensitive in any regard, so I'll need to learn to drive it. And here we see a replay of Wolfgang von Trips, the first retirement of the race. He was hit by Maurice Trintignant, who we are looking at now. They came through turn 1, they both lost control and crashed into one another. Well, Trintignant crashed into von Trips. Next we have Mike Hawthorne in his Ferrari crashing into this camera post. Then we have Juan Manuel Fangio in the Maserati coming through the final hairpin and the second hairpin, and well, that was quite an interesting little show of skill, I guess, as for a lack of a better term. And that is Alfonso de Portago, who flips his Ferrari, and those are the retirements on the opening lap. As we now move on to lap 2, chasing after Bob Gerard, who is in 8th. We are in 9th, and there he is in the Cooper Bristol, I believe that one is. We go past Gerard, but then he comes around and loses control of his car right in front of us, but we managed to go well, get around him unscathed. So we are in 7th now, as we now look at Jack Brabham, who loses control of his Cooper Climax through the first hairpin, and then drives into a cameraman post, and well, that's the end of his race. This is Sterling Moss losing control of his van wall and driving into a tree. and DA kind of gave up there, I guess. This is Maston Gregory and his Ferrari coming out of the high-speed chicane, medium-speed chicane, flips the car over, and he is out of the Argentine Grand Prix, as well as we now move on to lap 3, and we see a bunch of van walls there, kind of all over the place. I brake hard for the hairpin, lock my wheels, and go for a little spin. Thankfully, I managed to get it back onto the track. And here we see Peter Collins in his Ferrari coming through turn 1, I believe that is. Flips the car, and that is the end of his race. And we are now challenging Roy Salvadori as we come through turn 2. He loses control of the car, and we move up into 5th, now chasing after Harry Schell, as we now have a look at Tony Brooks in the van wall, loses control, flips the car over, and decided he had more than enough. As we now move on to lap 7, still chasing after Harry Schell, but we moved up into 4th thanks to, retirements, and we see the sky getting darker there, and we have a look at a replay. This is Bob Gerrard, who loses control of his Cooper Bristol, crashes, loses his left, rear right, and he's out of the race as well. And we saw Luigi Musso there as well, losing control of his car, crashing into the cameraman post and ending his race. As we now move on to lap 8, chasing after whoever it was. This is a replay. That was Harry Schell who crashed into Gerrard, actually. That's what happened. Gonzalez is next, who retires. He loses control of his Ferrari coming out of the chicane. He tries to get around, kind of manages, but then crashes into the grandstand there, loses his front right, and he is out of the race. As we now move on to lap 13. It started raining a few laps ago, and now it's chucking it down. It's very wet, very slippery, and we now have a look at Stuart Lewis Evans, who loses control of his van while coming out of the chicane, crashes into the grandstand, and that is the end of his race. As we now move on to lap 18, and we take the lead of the race here as we overtook someone who was in the pits. This is now lap 23. We've built an absolutely amazing gap on Jean Berra. We are 1.5 minutes ahead of him, and we are now looking at a replay of Carlos Menditegui, who, well, drives his car into a cameraman post and breaks one of his front wheels, and he's out of the race. This is now lap 23. Later on lap 31, as I come through turn 1, I believe this is, I go a bit wide. Roy Salvadori managed to catch up to me, and now he passed me, so we fall down to 2nd, which is kind of, embarrassing. But finally, on lap 45, we come to finish the race. Salvadori wins, we finish in 2nd, and I'm not entirely sure, but I think Moss is 3rd. The standing should come. Nope. Joe Bonnier is 3rd, and Jean Berra is 4th, with Roy Salvadori posting the fastest lap of the race. So that was the Argentine Grand Prix. Quite an interesting start to the season. And here are the retirements. 16 people retired from the race. Yeah, so that's the opening round of the 1957 season. Kind of disappointing that I managed to take the lead and then lose it 4 laps before the end, but oh well, could have been worse, right? So 2nd is still a good place, so not a bit embarrassed that I managed to lose the lead, but I'm not very all that disappointed. 2nd is still a very good position to be in. Anyway, here are the career statistics, and this was Andy's 58th Grand Prix. His best start is from 1st, has 3 pole positions, has posted 11 fastest laps. His best finishes in 1st, has completed 40 races, 35 of them in the points, has won 21 Grand Prix, 4 at the Indianapolis 500, 2 at the Monaco Grand Prix, has 5 championships under his belt, has a total of 236 points, has retired 18 times, has completed 1,326 out of 1,630 laps, has 5 bronze trophies, 5 silver trophies, 21 gold trophies, and as an extension 21 podiums. And here is a very quick look at the championship standings. Obviously it's quite the same as the race results. Salvadori is in the lead of the championship at the moment with Higgs in second, Bonnier in third, and fourth is Berra. I will not count Menditegui as he didn't finish. So those are the top 4 drivers. Quite an interesting opening round. Kind of what we've come to expect really from this race. It generally goes quite awkward very, very quickly. Anyway, our next race is the Monaco Grand Prix, a race which generally doesn't go too well for the AI, so we'll have to wait and see how it will go this time around, but I'm hoping it will be alright, but who knows. But anyway, that is the end of the Argentine Grand Prix, the end of this video. If you want to have a say in what team Andy Higgs will drive for in the 1958 season, there is a link in the description that will take you to a straw poll where you can do just that. I also have a second channel where I will be playing all sorts of different games. At the moment I'm doing a playthrough of the original Need for Speed Underground, so if you're interested in that, there will be a link in the description to that as well. Also, don't forget, tomorrow, November 22nd, is a very important and special day for this channel, and for the occasion I've prepared a very special video, so make sure to check that out as well as soon as I'll upload it. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp!